You are listening to Keith Price's Curtain Call. This is Keith Price, and we are back here for Keith Price's Curtain Call. And yes, that was a little tradition from Fiddler on the Roof to get us all in the zone for what's going to happen next, because I am very lucky and very blessed. Now, some of you may have listened to some of the previous podcasts where we had the lovely, lovely, and wonderful couples of young people that
all
are
beautiful,
all gorgeous, all wonderful. So you can go back to my SoundCloud page and find out all about that. And today, I kind of been sort of stalking you, but I don't want to own up to that. But my next guest here on the Curtain Call is playing a very, very famous character. And it's famous into the fact that the character's name has actually become part of the lexicon of
That's true.
Of our conversations. The lovely, fabulous, super talented, gorgeous, groovy Miss AlIx Korey is here from Fiddler on the Roof. You might know her as Little Yenta.
Thank you.
But she's here. How you doing, darling?
If I had met you when I was 20, I wouldn't have needed all that therapy. If someone had said those things to me then, I know.
Oh my God, AlIx Korey, you're a mess. I love it. This is how we're starting. This is great. But yes, Miss AlIx Korey is here with me on Keith Price's Curtain Call, and I have become almost an instant fan from the first moment that you say your first line in Fiddler on the Roof.
Avram, I have a perfect match for your son, a wonderful girl.
Who is it?
Rachel, the shoemaker's daughter.
Oh, Rachel, but she can hardly see. She's almost blind.
Tell the truth, Avram. Is your son so much to look at? The way she sees and the way he looks, it's a perfect match.
During the song.
I know. Well, and it's funny because it's so, the character immediately grabs the audience with truth-telling.
Exactly. You have to tell the truth.
And truth-telling, people love it. They really love it.
Unless it's about them.
Yes, of course. Of course.
AlIx Korey with you here on Keith Price's Curtain Call, and we're talking about her. We're going to talk about everything because we got time now, honey.
Okay.
This is great. So, AlIx Korey, you have lived. I pulled out a bunch of playbills of your illustrious career so far on Broadway, and you've had some moments.
Well, it's interesting, the adjective illustrious. Because
you're doing more than I have ever done. So that's illustrious to me. So.
It's I really only had one hit show before this. Although I was in Chicago, the show Chicago,
right,
for 5 months, and I didn't close it, so I consider that a success. But it's, it almost seems like I was a jinx. You want your show to run? Don't hire that girl. But I did wonderful, wonderful pieces that I loved, mm-hmm, and worked with some fabulous people. But I don't think I appreciated it until I left New York.
Really?
I left after All Shook Up, mm-hmm, which we talked about, because that had been such a fabulous piece. And I loved working on it so much, and I'd given 4 years to it. And I thought, wow, I bet it's not going to get better than this. And I don't want to keep investing my heart. And so I left. I moved to California. And while I was out there, I started talking with people who knew nothing about the theater, but talking about what I'd worked on, the people I'd worked with, the tremendous talent, the tremendous generosity, the tremendous artistic, creative work. Mm-hmm. And I thought, hell, you were a success, damn it. You had a good life, dear. So get over yourself. And so when the opportunity to come back was offered, I was just thrilled.
Really?
And I'm approaching it very differently now, where it's not about what's going to happen tomorrow. It's about what's going to happen today, and today is pretty fabulous.
All right.
You
Living
know?
in the moment?
It is, and it's taken me only years to do. But yes.
AlIx Korey with me here on Keith Price's Curtain Call. And again, I was thinking as you were saying that, that the biggest thing that I'm starting to figure out now is that there is so much stuff going on around us all the time that if we don't take the time to absorb what's happening now, we're going to miss everything.
Right, because we're always worried about, well, what do I have to do tomorrow? And who do I have to call? And who do I have to impress? And instead of actually going, wow, this is fun. Let me just enjoy the actual performing, the actual watching, the actual listening, the learning. So,
is that what you wish someone would have said to you?
I say it to a lot of students.
Yeah.
I do say it because I don't think, although sometimes you wonder that if people with great experience, they tell you a lot of things.
Right.
And you still have to go through it yourself.
Exactly.
To learn it.
Yeah.
You hear it, you go, that makes sense. But there's so much of you that wants to be important, to do important work, to
be attached to something,
to be
important.
special, to make a difference, and so you don't realize that you're doing it. You're so worried that you're not doing it.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I think in the end, part of that craziness needs to be there early on in order to propel you to get through those rejections, and get through all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
So that it helps build that resiliency. But then in that process of doing that, you wind up missing out on what could be going on that's great.
Right.
Wow. Man.
I think it's kind of endemic to New York.
Yeah.
You know, how if the building isn't fabulous, tear it down. Let's build another one.
Right.
If the three theaters, you remember those three beautiful theaters
where the Marriott Marquis is now? Yeah.
Torn down. Restaurants closing right and left because something new comes up. So it's very much a product of what you did yesterday is not important.
Or how disposable we all are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, AlIx, we weren't supposed to get this deep so early. We were supposed to luxuriate.
But the other thing is, if you can compartmentalize that, if you can put that in a place, you can then become I'm very positive now in terms of how I look at life and what other people, the kindness of other people and the value, because I know that stuff and I'm putting it away. I'm putting it away because why live there?
If you don't have to.
Why live there?
Wow. AlIx Korey is just dropping some serious songs, as the kids would say.
I'm big on joy now, baby.
All right.
I want it.
I get that. And it's so interesting because I can tell, I've seen you at different places, around town. I mean, I'm not like I'm stalking you or anything, but I've seen you at other places. And there is certainly a sense of lightness in your being when you're out and about. Like you're sort of like, I saw you at the Broadway Cares thing just a couple of days ago, and there was something about when they just even seeing you there, it was like I remembered, it's like, wow, she's just doing it. She's got a show a little bit later tonight. She's she's cruising along.
I like people.
Yeah.
I really enjoy being with other people.
Yeah.
And listening to them and learning from them. And when they're sad, I want to make them feel better.
Yeah.
I think it's why the thing that I love the most is teaching, much more than performing.
I was just about to ask you that. I was like, all of those things seem like that's what makes a great teacher.
I think you're always a student.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like seeing an 18-year-old realize that they are of value, that they have something that no one else has, and that's good.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
As they're about to step into the world.
Yeah, that they're, that they don't have to dwell on, well, I'm not as, I don't sing as well as so-and-so, I'm not as pretty as so-and-so, I don't dance as well as so-and-so. To sit back and go, wait, this is something I can do and I do well, and no one else can do it.
Yeah.
No one else can do what I do.
Yeah.
That's important.
It's interesting to hear you say that. I'm talking with AlIx Korey here on Keith Price's Curtain Call. And as you're saying that to me, I'm taking it in exactly that same way, in that that's what I've been kind of battling within myself for the longest time, of just trying to understand that, one, I am really enough right now as I am. And I mean, and I'm a lot.
My dressing room mate actually has a piece of art in our dressing room that says, I am enough.
I'm enough.
That's
and it's hard because
very hard,
because everything that's around you says that you need to be more.
Yes.
And what you don't understand is the concept of that constant need to try to be more.
Right.
You're not ever getting to be anything.
It's true.
And so it's fascinating to hear you say that just in this conversation, because I feel like there's a whole sense of kismet in general to be able to take that lesson for myself and whoever is listening. That's the best piece of advice ever.
And it's not being narcissistic or selfish to say, I saw there was a wonderful sort of haiku about if you are a pitcher and you are empty, then you cannot give anything to any water. If you're half empty, you can give stingily, but only when you feel full of who you are and what you can give, can you then fill all those other glasses.
Wow.
And I can't remember where I saw it, but I like reading those, those. Here's how to be a Buddhist when you were born Jewish. You know what?
Where's Jackie Hoffman now when we need her?
I'm telling you.
Oh my God, AlIx Korey. So, you're saying you're having a great time. You're doing 8 shows a week in what I think has probably been one of the most fabulous revivals. Like, this whole season has been really, really, really good. And I know we're about to come up to the end of school year is coming.
Yeah.
And it's going to be time for the graduation notes to go out.
And the gold stars be awarded.
And for you, as long as you've been doing this, does this piece of it, are you excited about any of that? I'm actually trying to maintain a perspective on all of it, because over the years, I've seen so many wonderful things go unrewarded, and things that were not as worthy be celebrated. Right.
And I think it becomes a matter of, I know that when I was nominated for Drama Desk Awards, and nobody believed me when I said, I don't care about winning. I am so thrilled to be at this party.
Right. And
to go to the luncheon and to talk to people that I was a fan of, So in a way, all of these awards things become a matter of, okay, let's go have lunch with great people.
Yeah.
Or because if you invest your heart in the award, you cannot help but be disappointed.
Wow.
You can't.
Yeah.
I had a talk with a friend of mine, a very good friend, a wonderful actress, singer, who has won a Tony Award, but it was 15 years ago. And we were talking about how hard it was to get seen for a particular thing. And I said, "What are you talking about? You have a Tony Award." She said, "AlIx, now you need 2. It's like, okay, are we just going to set ourselves up to fail all the time? Or can we take joy in when it happens? It's great."
It's so funny. Oh my God, AlIx Korey. You know what? It's interesting because again, you're saying something that, you're working right now in Fiddler on the Roof with 5-time Tony nominee Danny Burstein, and
who's about as brilliant a performer as ever lived.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems it doesn't matter. He's kind of like my Kevin Bacon.
Uh-huh.
I always I don't care who I'm talking to. Somehow we find a way to talk about how fabulous Danny Burstein is, regardless of the context.
Right.
But it was something that he said to me, I think it was for the last nomination. And I asked him, I was like, what does that feel like to you? He's like, it's great. He says, but it's just about the respect of my peers.
Uh-huh.
This is fabulous. And if
Right.
I win, don't get me wrong, once you're there, you do want to win. You can't help that part.
Right.
But you don't spend your lifetime and career
No.
chasing that. And it's interesting because I had a conversation with this really nice young actor a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things I asked him is he's 23, 24,
Right.
chicken. And I said, well, what are you hoping to do later on? What's in your big scheme of plans? And he said he wanted to be an EGOT. And I listened and I thought about it for a while, and I said to him, I go, well, I hope that you mean you want to do the kind of work that would put you in the contention to be someone like that. But that's not the ultimate goal. Because that, like you were saying, is a level of disappointment. And he just had this look on his face at first. He was like, oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant that I really would like to do the hard work. And I was like, okay, good. Because you're cute and you're pretty, and that'll get you so far.
Right.
But if all you're doing is looking to become an EGOT, then you're going to be having a fruitless search on a regular basis.
Of course, because there already is one.
Exactly. and you should know you're enough.
It's interesting because when I was it has been in, people have said for years, and it has stayed with me, well, you never got nominated for a Tony, you never did, and that sat on me.
Yeah. And
then when I got this job, and I'm not very good with social media, but I read Facebook, and I have a lot of friends, and I have a lot of people that I don't know telling me how thrilled they were that I was doing this and that they couldn't wait to see me again.
Wow.
And I thought, who needs a damn Tony Award? There's a lot of people out there that feel I'm worthy.
Isn't that great?
And I got to tell you, it put me on a high for weeks.
Wow.
Just knowing that people were happy for me.
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best. AlIx Korey with me here on Keith Price's Curtain Call, and we're talking about her turn right now as Yenta in Fiddler on the Roof, as well as a lot of things that are going on. And, she has a little bit of music in her background of her own. As we were talking earlier about the fact that she has recorded a couple of albums in her early period, I guess it was.
Yes. In my, I'm unemployed, what am I going to do, period.
I gotta stay vital.
Yes.
And so if you go to Amazon, because that's where I got these, mind you, she's got 2 CDs, songs you might have heard. Or might have missed, I'm sorry, that she did with David Friedman, who is pretty much a genius songwriter, lyricist of his own.
Yes.
And
And it was he who actually encouraged me because, as I was telling you before, no one had done an album, had recorded an album who wasn't a famous person.
Right.
So that even the, stretching into the other areas, like Linda Ronstadt doing a Nelson Riddle album.
Right.
But nobody like me had ever done an album. And I had sung so many fantastic songs by writers that I'd worked with in the BMI workshops, in shows that closed in 36 hours. And so David and I were talking. I said, I wish I could record these songs. And he said, well, why don't we? And I said, who's going to listen? He said, who cares? Let's do it.
Let's do it and figure it out later.
And then now, everybody from your brother-in-law and his 2-year-old nephew has a CD. But at the time, it was pretty, like...
You were trailblazing.
Oh, my God. I was. And I was thinking, how grandiose.
Look at my career, darling.
But
that's the best, though.
And it is. And it's funny because it takes something sort of life-changing to give you courage.
To do something new.
Yeah.
Ooh, AlIx Korey, girl, you and you're giving me, you're just reinforcing certain things in just this conversation that I've had going on for a while.
Well, I'm older than you, darling. I have more years.
You have a few more years. You don't have that many more, believe it or not. I just turned 49. You look fabulous.
But otherwise, I let's put it this way. I could have given birth to you. All right? All right? I could have given birth to you.
You wouldn't have been a prom baby, right?
No.
I would not have been a prom baby. Oh my God! Oh, AlIx Korey, how fabulous! So again, you got this wonderful thing. You were just telling me about this other CD, because the 2 CDs that I found, Gifts of Love and the Songs You Might Have Missed, those are actually available on CD Baby as well as Amazon and all of the other places that you can look for music. And then you have this other one. You did a live concert for Broadway Cares. And I know it was the funniest thing when I knew that I had you booked last week and I started doing a little of my research to just look it up. And one of the things that I saw in your bio is that you were one of the founding members of Broadway Cares.
Yes, because before there was Broadway Cares, there was a small committee at Actors Equity called Equity Fights AIDS, which was begun in 1987. And just a small committee that decided actors needed to be taking care of their own.
Right.
And the committee blossomed. The first flea market, we were so thrilled because we made $14,000.
Wow.
And now, of course, they make millions.
They make millions.
But it really was a grassroots organization.
Yeah.
And Tom Viola, of course, who I
goddess. He's a goddess.
Totally. And he's my friend. And I still feel that way about him.
Yeah.
I want to, kind of worship at his little toes. But he really, Equity Fights AIDS was in existence for about a year and a half when producers decided, wait, they wanted to have something too. And that's when Broadway Cares was created. And we finally merged because we were covering the same bases.
Yeah.
And there were just so many fundraisers you could do before people said,
"We got
no,
more money."
you know what? I don't want to sing a 12th show for nothing.
For nothing.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, people are dying, but I just don't have it to give today.
Yeah. So the organizations merged, and it's stunning to me.
Yeah.
What it's become.
And it's interesting because it is a true testament, at least at all of the events that I get to go to, that actors really do take care of actors.
Absolutely. Well, I think actors are the kindest people in the world.
Right.
Basically because all we have is each other.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
In order for us to do the things that we need to do,
right,
we need to have some sort of camaraderie.
Yes.
Or some sense of camaraderie. I mean, not everybody has to love everybody because
right.
we don't. But at the same time, within that mix, there needs to be a sense of
right.
that.
Right. And it isn't that we don't feel sad, but we then know that there's somebody who also feels that for us.
Right.
Because they've experienced it.
Right. Right.
We're never alone in this business. We're never, you never have to feel alone as an actor. I did the show Working, Studs Terkel.
Yeah.
And we
it's Stephen Schwartz, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. First time I worked with Christopher Ashley, who is an amazing director. And as research, we went to a lot of the places and people that we were playing, construction work, teachers, fruit pickers, mill work. We went and saw this. And so many of these people said that they hoped their children did not do what they do, that they would do something else for a living. And I remember that most of us talked about how if our children wanted to be actors, what joy they could have in their lives.
Right.
And it's because of the community.
Yeah.
I think.
And the sense of expression that you get to be as an actor.
Absolutely.
You get to have all of your emotions if you're lucky.
Sure. You never see an actor picking up an Uzi and shooting all of his coworkers. You just don't see it because he gets to sing a high C and that gets it out.
For me, it would be just a number with the costume change. That just settles me down.
I'm telling you.
Nothing like looking behind you and there's a line of chorus boys. It changes your mood a little.
It does.
I would hope that it would.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. God. That album, interestingly enough, I don't know if I'm allowed to use the word, but it was, the show was called AlIx Korey Belts. Is this going to be beeped? AlIx Korey belts the shit out of Broadway.
Pow.
That's what it was called.
Girl.
But we couldn't put that on an album that children might see. So we just call it the live concert. But that's what all those songs were. Sort of every theater queen's favorite belt number.
Meadowlark, glitter and be gay. You better work.
Oh, yes, darling. Oh, yes. It's probably not the most beautifully sung you've ever heard. But it's fairly amusing. You know what I mean? So we play to our strengths.
Did Barbara Cook give you a ring after?
She didn't, but I know she never felt threatened. Never felt threatened.
I love it. Oh my God, AlIx Korey with me here on Keith Price's Curtain Call. And we're talking about her, she's got Fiddler, she's got AlIx Korey, the live concert for Broadway Cares, she's got her Gifts of Love.
And you know what else I got?
Miss.
I'm the luckiest woman in the world. I have a fantastic husband.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
What's he do?
He's a sound designer.
Oh, in the business, but not really in the business. Like us business, yeah.
Right. Not dealing with the egos.
Yeah.
He's just
because he can just turn off their mic.
And I'm not going to tell you when he actually did that.
Oh, see? Because that's how they get you.
But it was very funny because there were a number of times that I was doing my club act. Mm-hmm. And people would come over and say, "Can you turn her down?" And he'd go, "She's not on."
Is that why you felt a connection to Ethel Merman?
For sure. Well, the first 2 Broadway shows I did, I didn't wear a mic.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't wear a body mic. I was without.
Wow.
And but then when we did Pirates and everything is electronic, the whole orchestra is synthesizers, there's no way a human voice can
sing over that.
So
you had to give in to convention.
But, the very first time they tried to put a mic on me for another show, I burst into tears. Please don't put that. Please, I've been better. I'll do better, I promise. And Richie Fitzgerald, who's one of the major Broadway sound designers, he was the one holding it. He was terrified. He ran away. And so they changed the choreography so that I didn't need it. Because I didn't have to sing over 15 tap dancers.
Oh, my God. What show was that?
It was a show that never came in. It was called OK. It was to be a revival. We did the Kennedy Center. And I played Velma Del Mar, who worked she worked at the Star Island Casino. No cover, no minimum, no loitering. But it happened to be newspaper strike time, and the show never came in.
Yeah.
But that was the last time I got to work without a mic.
Wow.
So.
Wow. That's interesting because, again, people don't realize that there was a time when there were no mics.
Right.
And you went to a show and you heard people singing over the orchestra.
Right.
Beautifully.
And it was exciting.
Yeah. Because everything about the whole moment seemed more genuine.
Well, and that my husband is a wonderful designer because he remembers that too.
Right.
So all the work he tries to do, he tries to create that acoustic again. Do you know so that you don't sound like you're part of the machine.
Right. Because you're part.
Which we do a lot.
Yeah.
It's interesting to listen to recordings.
Yeah. Did you like how this recording for the Fiddler turned out?
I'm embarrassed to say this, but I don't have a CD player, so I haven't heard it yet. I figure when my husband comes into town and rents a car, we'll put it in the CD player of the car, and I'll finally get to listen to it. I'm not kidding you. It's like
no iPod, none of that jazz.
Well, you remember, I didn't live here. I had to.
Right.
I came in to a completely unfurnished apartment. I had to get furniture. I had to.
Wow.
And the Sonos system or whatever the hell they, my husband installs, where he just says to me, honey, you push this button and it turns on. It doesn't have a CD player. It's, everything's gone away.
Yeah.
I still have little cassette tapes.
That you say that's so funny. I had a conversation with someone just the other day about the fact that when I was given a CD, I was so overjoyed by holding the CD in my hand that I thought to myself, and I was like, I remember also having the same kind of joy with the album. And it's like, I don't know what it's like to not be able to have the music in my hands available to me.
It's like reading ebooks.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books on my iPad, but every other book or so, I have to go to the store, to Barnes & Noble or Costco, and buy a real book.
Yes.
I have to have it in my hands to turn the pages and
because we
look at the acknowledgments
and make it pop. Because you're old school like that.
I am.
That's AlIx Korey with me here, and gotta let her go soon because she's got a show to do, y'all.
Oh.
Busy on the Broadway. She's very busy. So
and I got to put in my Stouffer's microwave dinner because someone who has so many abilities as an artist cannot cook.
So you don't cook?
I don't cook. I don't
Wow.
cook. My husband's nickname for me is Kitchen Disaster. It's very scary, the things that I have thought would work.
But they don't.
Oh my God. I tried to make matzo balls when I was, trying to be ethnic. And I mean, they warn you, they tell you that they're supposed to be small when you put them in, but I couldn't believe they could be that small.
Exactly. So
I made them maybe a little bigger, and then they started boiling, and it was like aliens coming out of the pot. And my husband was like, honey, just stop. Please, just stop.
Well, call Save Bars. Cut it out.
Give it up. You have no natural gifts at this.
The kitchen is not your friend. No, it's not for the kitchen.
No.
Oh, my God. Well, Miss Korey, it's so funny because Adam Cantor was regaling you about you teaching him.
And
there you are.
One of the thrilling things you mentioned, Nikki James, and she was my student. I have kids all over the place.
Are they all on the Broadway, a lot of them?
There are people on Broadway. There are people on the road. And you know what? There are people who have become teachers.
Yeah.
And I love that, too, that they
find a way to...
They want to create, but they want to do it with other people, for other people. So you're
that teacher that everybody remembers.
Well, that's what I got on Facebook, and I was like, you know what? It's all right. I could die now. I could die because I did good.
But please don't, because Yenta is everything for me. Yenta is everything.
Yeah.
Gosh, AlIx Korey, we could talk forever. But again, go to AlIxKorey.com. That's AlIxKorey.com to find out more about everything.
Yes, I wrote a fairly amusing bio. I thought, did you laugh a couple times on my bio?
I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And if you want her music, she's got her live concert for Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS. She's got her Gifts of Love and songs you might have missed, all of which are available online wherever you can get your music. And
if you know how to update a website, go ahead and do mine, because I don't know how to do it.
You and me both. Miss AlIx, thank you so much for coming.
Pete.
And tell everybody over at Fiddler on the Roof how much I love them. They all know.
Thank you.
And good luck.
It's been such a pleasure. I've had such a good time.
This is a wonderful time, and I'm glad that you are passing that note along about making sure to enjoy the moment, because this is a very interesting season just in general. And,
right.
Sheldon Harnick's got 2 shows on the Broadway,
And he had Rothschilds too.
Which I saw last.
And he's getting a special honor this year.
So
I'm so thrilled with that.
So you're a part of something that is really very, very special. And I'm glad to hear that you not only are recognizing that, but you're also helping those other people understand that this is a special time, regardless of what's going on with Hamilton. What's going on with... Well, I mean, let's be honest.
And you know what? The guy's a genius.
Yeah, let's have
So,
Can't hate.
What they presented at the Easter Bonnets was...
Oh, my God.
Brilliant.
Sweeney Todd.
Brilliant.
Demon Barber Sweeney Todd. Genius. So... whatever. You can't hate, but
it's there.
But what's happening with where you are right now at the Broadway Theater is a really special thing too, especially for me, because that was my first time ever seeing a full production of Fiddler on the Roof, and I was wowed. I mean, I already was a Danny Burstein fan,
right.
But seeing that with him, the way he does it, and the way
Bart
everyone
shares
else,
what he felt was important about making it timely.
Yeah.
Making people realize that this is not a story of the past.
Yeah.
This is the tragic story of our lives.
Right now.
Of humanity.
Wow.
So.
Oh, well, look at that. See? So fabulous.
Sorry, don't mean to leave you on a downer.
But... Again, AlIx Korey, you can see her 8 shows a week here in New York at the Broadway Theater doing the wonderful revival of Fiddler on the Roof. You can get her music everywhere. And again, thank you for the work of putting together Equity Fights AIDS.
Thank
because, something that it's become near and dear to me. And it's wonderful to see that it was just a couple of people with a really big idea and just willing to put themselves out there to do it.
Yeah. And the fact that actors have continued to be so generous
Right.
in their time and their fundraising.
And Tom Viola runs a tight ship over there, baby.
He's the god.
He keeps that place ship shape, honey.
Yes.
Which is what the other thing about it that I love, because there's never, knock on wood, never been a bad thing said about that organization.
No.
Ever.
No.
So
Completely open to, you can see how little is spent on administration
Mm-hmm.
and how much is spent on people.
and that is
Who
what
need
it's
it.
about. Ugh.
Yeah.
So shout out to Broadway Cares too. That's what we're gonna end out with a shout out for Broadway Cares.
Yeah.
And again, Miss Korey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was great.
I will see you on the,
Absolutely.
around the neighborhood.
Around the hood, we'll be around.
All
And you're
right.
right down the street, so come over. We can talk about anything anytime.
Okay.
I love it.
I would love it.
And we will be back.